Hey, welcome back to Cedar Porch Homestead. I'm JR, and this is not a fun video to do because, well, we'll get to that in a second. First, these guys are getting big and old, and they're ready to go out on pasture. And, well, if you saw a video that we did a while back, me and my daughter created what I thought was a really cool Christmas-themed outside quail tractor to move our birds around on a regular basis. Unfortunately, that met with a tragic end. So we have that quail tractor back in the shop because we need to do some repairs because unfortunately, stray dogs have hit us once again here on our backyard homestead, and they absolutely decimated almost 40 quail in one night. It was terrible to wake up to. It really upset my daughter because that's a lot of work, a lot of time, and a lot of effort that she put in, not to mention the financial loss of losing almost 40 quail. But stray dogs did this kind of damage. And they did that in one night. So you might be asking yourself, how do you know it was stray dogs? Well, a couple nights later, they decided to go after our breeding stock that we have in the aviary. Fortunately, we caught them in time that they were not able to do any damage to those guys. However, because we're in a neighborhood, I couldn't go out there. Say hello to my little friend! But that would not go over well here in the city limits in a neighborhood. So that is one of the underlying reasons too why we're looking to get into a larger piece of property outside of city limits that we can call our own, because we really do stand by the 3 S's when it comes to outdoor living, and that is shoot, shovel, and shut up. So this is the first time we've ever had to deal with any predators going through 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch welded wire. Now that trio of dogs, they ripped through this, made holes in it, and it was quite surprising that they were able to do so much damage to this metal wire. But I've got some ideas on how we can reinforce this and also do some things in the yard that are going to prevent this from ever happening again. But first, let's get this reinforced. Okay, so not only am I replacing that 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch welded wire, I'm also going to be reinforcing it with this heavy gauge wire that I had laying around in the shop because, well, this isn't the first time predators have gotten us. So the last time I did this was with our mobile chicken coop. I replaced it with this extremely heavy gauge wire, and we've had no more problems with predators getting our birds in the yard. So that's what I'm going to do with our quail pen. Okay, so I got all my wire here on the quail tractor. Now, I'm not gonna call this bulletproof because as soon as I say something like that, it would be like saying, well, this is the Titanic and it's unsinkable. So we're not going to set ourselves up for failure like that. But I will say we have taken every precaution we can on the quail tractor to make it as predator proof as possible. Now this is only going to be one line of defense. Let me get this thing put back together and get it in the yard, and I will introduce you to our second line of defense. But let's get this thing put back together so that these quail that are ready to go out on the yard have a place to go. Okay, so the new, improved, reinforced quail tractor is back out on grass. We did a little bit of an improvement, kind of testing to find out whether or not some wheels attached to the back is going to make it a little bit easier for my girls to move that up.
Oh my.
Was that easier?
That's so much easier.
Bailey's going to be getting her quail moved and getting her feeders and water set up for this quail tractor, and I am going to start on my second level of protection for our backyard quail, because not only are we having quail that are going out on pasture, we also have those baby chicks that are going to be heading out on grass here in about 2 weeks. So I need to have a way of protecting them. And let's get in the shop so I can open up these boxes for my second layer of protection. Okay, so for my second layer of protection, what we are using is electrified poultry netting. Now I got this complete kit from PremierOne. I'll leave a link for it in the description below, because we have used these electric nettings with a solar energizer in the past, and they work like a dream. The only thing that might work better is if you had a really well-trained guardian dog, but we don't have that, so we are going to be using this electrified poultry netting and the solar energizer. So we got that all out of the box. Let's go set it up around our quail to make sure it works. Okay, this netting, really easy to put up. However, I did not think ahead, and I put the ends where the solar energizer is going to have to connect over here. And if you can see above me, there's a whole lot of tree, and that means a whole lot of shade. Not real good when it comes to a solar energizer, not a problem. Gonna have to just take it down real fast, move it to where the opening is going to be more over here, closer to my garden, and that way I can connect it and it will get at least a good half-day morning sun, and that should keep it energized. But now I have to take this down, reset it up. Shouldn't be a problem. Let me get to it. All right, Miss Bailey has got the quail all moved into their new pen. As you can see, they are snug as a bug with that reinforced chicken tractor. Okay, the fence is all set up. I've got the energizer set up right here. Now it can actually hook up to a T-post, but I have this little part right here that I'm using because, well, I got it, right? Okay, so really easy setup. We hooked up the battery, hooked up the black cable to the aluminum T-bar that goes into the ground. That's the grounding rod. The orange handle goes right here on the fence itself. And now all we have to do is turn it on. Okay, so PremierOne thinks ahead on all this stuff, and they actually send you a tester with your fence to make sure that you are getting an electrified fence. So let's see what kind of voltage we're sending down this electric fencing. So 5.6, 5.8, that means we're at 5,600 to 5,800 volts that are going through this electric fence. Not a fence that I really want to mess with. We have had these before in the past. Now I decided to go with a 4-foot, a 48-inch fence. Now I did that for a few reasons. One is we are not always planning on living here, so if I ever use this in the future, I can actually combine other fences with it, so I can make them a bigger pen, and we can run our laying hens out on pasture protected by a poultry fence. Now, the other reason that I went with a 48-inch fence is I have had a 36-inch fence in the past. Now, I'm pretty tall. I'm about 6'2"-ish, and at 36 inches, I can step over a 36-inch fence pretty easy. So many years ago, I made the mistake of trying to straddle that 36-inch fence without turning the energizer off, and I assure you, you only make that mistake once and you never make it again. Well, it's been several years, so I'm going to use this 48-inch fence so I don't even try to attempt that in the future, because that was a lesson learned the hard way. All right, and just like that, we now have double protection on the quail. We have double protection for our soon-to-be chickens out on pasture. So if this can't stop the stray dogs, I don't know what will. So fingers crossed. Look for updates to make sure that we're able to get these guys to harvest and make sure that we can get our chickens to harvest as well. If you have any questions, make sure you ask them below. If you have any comments, leave those below as well. If you haven't had a chance, make sure you're subscribed. Hit that notification bell so you stay notified when we come out with these new updates and videos. And as always, thanks for watching. See you next time.